Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I will be talking about my roommate experience. So just a disclaimer, I just got out of the shower, so I am not looking like my best self, but I am refurbished from my day. And also another disclaimer, I will not be mentioning any names due to privacy of my roommates. Um, I haven't really talked to them, but I'm giving them the privacy, so I will not be mentioning names. I will be calling them roommate A, roommate B, so on and so forth. So my first roommate experience was my first year in college. I was living in the dorms. They recommended freshmen to live in the dorms. So I did that. I did the process and everything. I kind of procrastinated a bit on it because I was hesitant on going to that school, but my mental stability during that year was not at the best, was not at its best time compared to now. I mean, it's been a while. So just FYI, this has been like almost 7 years ago. So I'm not gonna remember almost everything, but this is like the big things that I do remember. So I did the process, I think it was July of 2016. I was kind of late on, like I said, procrastinating on it. So I didn't really get the good rooms, but I got a decent one. And I was able to pick out what roommates I had and everything. So I picked out 2 roommates, 3 actually, 3 other roommates. So it was 2 and 2, and then we had a common area. So I was living with roommate A and roommate B. And once I picked out my room and moved it, officially done everything and just waiting for move-in day, roommate B, she and I, we were constantly texting each other before we even moved in. She first added me on Snapchat. She actually reached out to me first. And we kind of got along over text. We had a lot of similarities. It was that feeling like I know she and I were gonna get along pretty well. And she and I actually tried reaching out to roommate A, and roommate A for some reason wasn't responding to anything or something like that. She just didn't respond at all. And I have that feeling, I kind of do, that she and I might bump heads, but I can't really assume much. Roommate B and I, we were constantly texting each other a month before we actually had to move in. And there was another roommate that was supposed to move in with us, but last minute she moved out. Fast forward to move-in day, had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to put all my stuff in the car and everything. And it was almost about a 2-hour drive to campus from where I live at the time. And moving day, it was just a long process. It was nerve-wracking. I was feeling nervous because I was like, man, I'm gonna meet my roommates for the first time. I was kind of excited, but also nervous because I don't know how they're gonna be, especially with roommate A, since I'm sharing an actual room with her, and I never really reached out to her at first, so I was more skeptical and nervous about it, but whatever. And I met roommate B in person finally. I knew how she looked like from her Snapchat stories and everything, but I finally got to see her in person and not on a phone screen. So she and I actually got pretty along really well. She was the eldest one out of all three of us all together. Because once I finally met roommate A, we actually were like, okay, cool. Just never, meh. So we had like our discussions about like the rules between us roommates, um, being cordial, being like respecting everything, respecting each and every one of us. Um, yeah, so we basically had rules and regulations about with living with each other, bathrooms, who was responsible for what. So we were all working together with everything, group chats, roommate stuff. So another fast forward to during the school year. So, damn, this was like 6, 7 years ago. There is a lot of gray area. I really don't remember. Oh my God. I think it was towards like midterms, I believe. And then the stress of college during midterms, like your stress is not all there. You're struggling probably financially, academically, every little thing. And usually around midterms, that's when my birthday is. So just keep in mind during that time, my birthday is November 18. And when I first moved to the dorms, I was only 17. I started school pretty early. So I turned 18 when I was in college. So, and surprisingly, roommate A also has the same birth month as me. She was just a couple of days older than me. So she also just turned 18. The only one that was 18 was roommate B. Roommate A and I just turned 18, and obviously it was midterms. For some reason, she and I ended up bumping heads. I don't know for what, if it was the stress. Anyway, what I remember, I left my iPad in my room, and I don't know where I was. I think I was in class, or I was hanging out with some friends. She went through my messages on my iPad since it was connected to my phone, and a good friend of mine at the time, I was kind of like venting to him about her. Wasn't really talking shit. I was kind of venting, and she took it as I was talking shit about her. After she read the messages, I think she kind of like had like a blackout and then decided to go to my closet and did something to it. I don't know. It was just really weird and petty, but I didn't really know until like I'd say about a couple days later of what she did. I found out through roommate B. Kind of brushed it off a little bit because I was like, it's kind of weird why you could have just talked to me about it. But it was just really weird. She and I bumped heads pretty much a lot. I started getting uncomfortable. I started getting a vibe like I wasn't going to be, I wouldn't say safe, but I just wasn't going to be in a comfortable living situation because I'm away from home. I'm not comfortable, especially because I just met this person and I don't really know much about her. Like, yeah, here and there we talk, but I don't feel like I'm knowing this person. And then roommate B, she and I actually got pretty along. We actually would talk a lot more than roommate A and I. And we actually would do a lot more things together, even though her classes were earlier in the morning and she had work. Once she gets off and everything, actually I would be the one to pick her up or something like that because I was the only one that had a car. Oh, excuse me. Roommate A would have her boyfriend over sometimes, And most of the time when I know her boyfriend was coming, I would stay at my friend's place because her place was right behind the dorms. And constantly we would basically, I would end up sleeping over there a lot because like I said, I wasn't feeling comfortable in that living situation. I was more comfortable over there. So long story short, I didn't end up being comfortable living there for a little bit. Like I kind of got over it, but I just still wasn't comfortable. Side note, from she and I bumping heads, we would give each other kind of like the silent treatment. I don't know. We just didn't work out during that time. So we ended up having to bring in our RA and talk about this whole thing when we couldn't even talk about it with roommate B, who was the mediator between she and I. So after the whole RA situation, it kind of like calmed down, and then Christmas break was coming up. But yeah. So I was staying with my friend's house a lot because we had I wouldn't say sleepovers, but we would have like study sessions, like all of our friends together. They were a little bit older than me. I think it was me and some other people that were freshmen in that friend group. But anyway, her boyfriend would come over a lot. And then it was just, since they were in the room a lot, I couldn't get into my room. So I had to bring like a lot of stuff out. Like basically I would have to pack a bag and not even stay there. Like I would stay at my friend's house. It got to the point I was even living there for a little bit because I don't know. I just, this whole, like we all understand, we all came in agreement about boyfriends coming over, friends coming over. I didn't care. But as long as I'm able to get to my stuff, that's all I really care about, especially if I had like a class or something or work. I need to get to my stuff, you know. So fast forward to spring semester. We all kind of got cordial after Christmas break, and I think a few weeks in spring semester, I believe, we had another roommate moved in. We're gonna call her roommate C. She moved in with roommate B. Obviously, roommate B, she had the room to herself. So she was kind of getting quote unquote upset, but she really wasn't upset. It was more like a play upset. But she became cordial, and I think at one point them two started bumping heads, and it got to the point that they were just not gonna get along. And I don't know what happened, but I decided to move out, and I moved in with one of my other friends who I met in my communications class from fall semester. And she and I were in criminal justice class spring semester together. Because my major at the time was criminal justice. I'm now a kinesiology major, so I switched majors. Anyway, come to find out, she has her own dorm all to herself. So she had one room to herself, and I was like, the other room was vacant, and I was like, let me see if I could try moving in. and I did. So this roommate is now, we're gonna call her roommate D. So roommate D and I had our own rooms to ourselves for the rest of spring semester. So I ended up moving in with her in that room and kind of enjoyed the time. So we were going to our criminal justice class together. We were going to our seminar class together. Like, she was considered like a quote unquote good friend. And then come to find out that she was actually a bad friend. She was a bad roommate. So she was constantly a mess. She was also like, with her friends. I didn't really care about this one. She was with her friends a lot, like super late at night, getting super high, super drunk. And I just let her be because I'm like, hey, to each his own. If you want to do that, go for it. But when we do have restroom checks, I would tell her like, hey, let's go clean the bathroom. Let's go do this. And she'd be like, okay. But since she was so busy hanging out with her friends, getting drunk, getting high, or something like that, she wouldn't come home till 3 o'clock in the morning. And then she would clean the bathroom herself at 3 o'clock in the morning. The night before, actually, the night before restroom checks. And I would get frustrated because I didn't want to clean the bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? Like, I want to clean the bathroom earlier so I know, like, it's gonna be clean, this and that, and we can actually, she and I both get some sleep. So I was thinking about both of us so we could get some sleep. But apparently she was getting frustrated that I don't clean the bathroom, and I was like, girl, I clean the bathroom after I even use it. I clean up after myself. She has that liquid, she uses liquid foundation, and then there are drips of toothpaste and liquid foundation in the sink. And it kind of like disgusts me in a way because I was raised to where the first impression of me, or like the first impressions of someone's home, is a clean bathroom. So I was raised to always have a clean bathroom. So she would clean the bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I am dead knocked out from working and studying and school. Like, I'm dead tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why would you clean the bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning? Whatever. And it just wasn't going so well. But roommate B was upset with me moving out because I was the one that kept her sane in a way. So roommate B and I still kept talking. We still kept going out to go have like dinner. She was like kind of like, she gave me that big sister, but I would call her Mama Bird. Because she has that mom vibe, but then she also has the big sister vibe. So it's the balance between the two. Anyway, she and I would constantly be talking a lot. She and I would like hang out a lot. It got to the point she was talking to me that her, roommate B and roommate C were bumping heads, and it got to the point it was just really, really like, like really bad. Like they were about to like fight or something. So roommate B kind of went to, I wouldn't say the AR, but like higher AR, RA, my bad, higher than the RA. I think it was more like the kind of like maybe like the manager of like the whole dormitory, something like that, where it would give her the permission to move in, to my room because I invited her. I'll be like, hey, I have an extra bed, move in here. And she was actually staying there a lot too, so I was like, might as well move in. And then we're gonna be moving out in a couple months because the whole school year is about to end. So she ended up moving in because of the whole situation with roommate C. So I was helping roommate B move in all her stuff, and it got later on towards like the end of the semester. Yeah, the place is a mess, but I'm like, hey, just deal with it for a couple months. We're about to move out. Like, let's just focus on midterms and everything like that. Midterms and finals, let's just focus on that. So with that being said, roommate D and roommate B, they were kind of giving kind of like two-faced vibes. Like, they would be nice to each other, but then to each other's backs they would talk about each other, and I became the mediator. And roommate D would actually tweet her kind of like issues and talk, like behind the screen she was talk, and she wouldn't even say it to her face. And then it's funny that roommate B even follows her on Twitter, and I'm just like, oh my god, when is this gonna end? But it got to the point I was like kind of hoping this whole like semester would end, because I was like, I think I was already checked out. Once it got closer to finals, I was like, get the finals over with, check out. Like, I was done. Like, I didn't want to deal with it no more or anything. It's not like I'm that type of person that doesn't want to deal with anything. It's just, it gets draining. Anyway, fast forwarding to now, roommate B and I still talk to each other. She lives in a whole different area. She's happy now. I'm actually still happy for her. She and I don't talk every day, but she and I still talk. The other roommates, I don't even talk to them at all. I don't even acknowledge them or even follow them on any social media platforms at all. Like, or maybe I do with one of them, but I don't really pay attention. Roommate D is kind of introduced me to my best friend now, because them two used to be friends, but now them two are not, so she and I are now friends. Crazy, I know. And basically all I know is that we all just didn't get along, besides me and roommate B. Roommate B is now kind of like, she's still my big sister. Every time I talk to her, we still kind of like greet each other, just be like on little things. We follow each other on the social media platforms, obviously. All I know, she's doing very well now. She is a hairstylist and cosmetologist. Kind of encouraged her. I let her practice on me when we were in the dorms, and I even let her take my car to go apply for cosmetology school. So I was like, go, do it. You know, if college is not for you, go for it. So with that being said, yep, so my advice for any of those who are considering of moving into dorms, do some research, not just on your roommates, but like how the process is of living in the dorms, as well as do you pick your own roommates, or does the school pick your own roommates? And if you do pick your own roommates, look into their bio, and if they have like any social media platforms, add them, message them ahead of time so you get to know your roommate before you even move into the dorms. Because once you move into the dorms and you haven't even met, you may never know what that person might might be or how their personality is. All I wish for them is success and happiness, because that's all we have to be, is uplifting. And that's what I inspire to be, is uplifting people, kind of like inspiring others to do well, especially because with my experiences, most of them have been negative. So I want to turn my negative experiences to positive. So with all my roommates that I've lived with, I hope you guys are doing well. And if you see this, anything that I've done, I'm sorry, but it has been 6-7 years ago. All I do is wish you guys the best. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are happy with your life. And if not, hope you are doing something. Anyway, that my roommate experience is something. I don't think it's my best experience, but I know how it gave me a learning opportunity to live with someone who is not like family or anything. It's just learning to live with someone who has another strong personality, and how their living situations is way different from mine. So, that is my roommate experience. Stay tuned for any other story time or any other content I will post. Please comment, like, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on social media. And have a good night.